The Production and Life Cycle of a Red Blood Cell by Ellen Combs. Let's meet our main characters. First, we have Ricky the red blood cell. Second, we have Ricky's mom. Next, we have the red bone marrow. Production of red blood cells is called erythropoiesis and takes place in the red bone marrow. In order for erythropoiesis to proceed normally, the red bone marrow must receive adequate supplies of amino acids, iron, and vitamins for protein synthesis. Next, we have the kidneys, which secrete erythropoietin. Erythropoietin is essential to the production of red blood cells. It controls erythropoiesis, and no red blood cells would be made without it. Next, we have the liver. The liver is essential to the destruction of a red blood cell, as well as the recycling of its components. Much like the liver, the spleen also contributes to the destruction of red blood cells, as well as the recycling of its components. Last but not least, we have the large intestine. In the large intestine, bacteria convert the components of the red blood cells into things that can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Let's begin our story. One day, the kidneys realized the red bone marrow was low on erythropoietin, so they sent some his way. This is how our main character, Ricky, was born. When Ricky was about 50 days old, he realized he didn't know why he was red, so he decided to ask his mom. "Well, sweetie," she replied, "that's because you have a special protein called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin helps you do your job of carrying oxygen from the lungs to the rest of the body. Each hemoglobin chain contains a single molecule of heme which holds an iron ion." Armed with this new knowledge, Ricky's mom decided he was ready for his journey, but before he left, she warned him, "After 120 days, either your plasma membrane will rupture or you will suffer some other damage. This damage will be detected by the phagocytes and they'll eat you. They remove your hemoglobin, and if the hemoglobin isn't phagocytized, its components will not be recycled." 120 days later, Ricky started to not feel so good. Then a phagocyte appeared. The phagocyte ate Ricky and took his hemoglobin, then sent his products to be recycled. As the components were recycled, each heme unit was stripped of its iron and converted to biliverdin. The biliverdin then binds to albumin in the bloodstream and is transported into the liver to be excreted into the bile. Next, the biliverdin goes to a factory to be converted to bilirubin. In the large intestine, bacteria convert bilirubin into urobilinogens and stercobilinogens. When exposed to oxygen, these become urobilins and stercobilins. Lastly, iron extracted from the heme molecules is released into the bloodstream where it binds to transferrin. Red blood cells developing into the red bone marrow absorb the amino acids and transferrin and use them to synthesize new hemoglobin molecules. Then the process starts all over again.